Good morning and welcome back to This Week in Dioramas. I am your host, TechChucker. If you aren't familiar with how this show operates, every week I go through Instagram looking for the coolest looking dioramas and I showcase them right here on the show. If you would like to be showcased in a future episode, all you need to do is upload your diorama pictures to Instagram and tag them with the hashtag This Week in Dioramas. We got an awesome showcase lined up for you today. I got two things that I really want to talk to you guys about, but I want to do it very quickly. First, I want to say a huge thank you to Star Marvel 76. He sent me out this custom head sculpt. This is a character that he has created it, I believe, when he was in high school. He also sent me some stickers, which are awesome. So if this is something you're interested in, by all means, hit him up. I apologize, my lighting's not all that great to be able to showcase him, but he does fit very nicely on this new Peter Parker body mold from Marvel Legends. So thank you so much for that. The other thing that I want to bring up, I want to ask you guys what you think of the new Amazon Prime Lord of the Rings of Power show. A couple of spoilers will probably ensue. I'm going to try and make this short so you can jump ahead. I'll have it in the description that you can jump ahead. Here's my thoughts. It started off okay. I was in it a little bit for episodes 1 and 2. I'm going to watch through the entire season just to see where it goes. Here are my main issues. Number 1 is Galadriel.
Who is this mortal who speaks to me as if he has the slightest idea who I am?
She's terrible. She's not a good character. I don't know what is wrong with these writers, but especially writers these days, they don't understand what a strong character is, whether it's a woman or a man.
It is only natural to feel conflicted.
Conflicted?
Conflicted.
Galadriel does not embody strength. She embodies weakness. She embodies youthful narcissism. She's just not good. Her goal right now is revenge. That is not something Tolkien would have, I ever think, been a part of one of his primary characters.
You've not seen it?
Seen what?
Maybe I'm wrong with the lore. Maybe that is actually what happened in some of the stories, the history before in Galadriel's life, but it does not strike me as Tolkienian. Is that a word? Yeah.
There is not another man on this isle that knows this craft better than I.
I don't know how they're going to be able to bring that back.
This does not bode well.
Tolkien had a very strong moral message, and I don't think that these writers understand that. And that is very evident with the way that they are portraying the hobbits, or I guess the Harfoots, since they couldn't even get the rights to the word hobbits. The Harfoots are just, number one, they're not serious characters.
Nobody goes up here.
The way that they've written them, they're whimsical and they're just lame.
He already said that.
The biggest offense.
The sea is always right.
In episode 3, they're starting their migration. They are going to leave behind anybody who's injured or cannot keep up.
Should any Harfoot fall behind this migration, they likewise will be carried with us in our hearts and in our memories.
That would not happen, in my opinion, of a Tolkien hobbit. The hobbits were the characters that Tolkien used to show there is one creature capable of overcoming the evil, of holding the one ring of evil, and to be able to overcome it, yet not, they're still, damaged from it. That will sit with Frodo and Samwise for the rest of their lives. But they're the only ones, even Smeagol, capable of holding that power for that amount of time.
Folk in those stories had lots of chances of turning back, only they didn't. They kept going because they were holding on to something. What are we holding on to, Sam? There's some good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth fighting for.
Those are not the kinds of people with the good in them that would leave their own kind behind to die because they couldn't keep up during a migration.
Our way has kept us alive 1,000 years.
Why would you do that? You don't understand why these characters were who they were. And in my book, they should have just, well, one, they shouldn't have done it. They shouldn't have written, they shouldn't have bought the rights. They didn't deserve it.
Let's not do anything rash just yet.
I look at Peter Jackson versus Amazon as being very similar. Peter Jackson is the Hobbit, wielded the power of Tolkien, but he didn't come out of it unscathed. He made some changes that people didn't like, but he still was true to the story as best he could, and he was successful. But Amazon, they've got the power, and you can tell all they want. They just want the money. It's just not working. It's not working. And the fact that they might not have the same moral standards as Tolkien did is what is going to ruin this show. And it's already there. It's already ruining it. So that's my opinion. If they can't get back on track with the moral standing of Tolkien in this show, I'm not going to continue with seasons 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know how they're going to be able to do it. I read some of the reviews and I don't understand these people that are giving it 5 stars. It's not good. The dialogue is not good. The story is not good. Even the costumes aren't that great because they're not dirtying them up. In Peter Jackson's version, I mean, they grimied the stuff up. But you look at some of the one that really threw me was in Numenor, and they're talking to this blacksmith, and he's completely clean. What blacksmith ever on screen would you see that's clean as a whistle? These people are claiming, oh, the costumes are beautiful. Yeah, for like a high school play. But the costumes for like the Harfoots, it's so comical and dumb, it doesn't make any sense. Why would they have acorns in their hair? They're a traveling people. Why would they be adorning themselves like they're vain little, they were simple. They were simple people. They wore what made sense. But not in this show. They're wearing, I mean, they got twigs and little like tiara leaf things on their head. They've got the acorns in there. That just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. It means to me that they really don't understand the true nature of these characters and why they worked. So anyway, that's my opinion on it. It's a bit of a longer intro rant. So let me know what you think of the show. Are you going to continue watching it? Are you loving it? Are you hating it? I don't understand how anybody can love it, but if you do, let me know. I'd love to understand it. Let's get into the showcase. I've already taken up too much of your time. Here we go. Starting off first with Tristan Tiamson. I think that's close. So this is a throne room, and I gotta say, this thing is really very detailed. I am digging the way that this turned out. Also, I'm wondering what you guys think. I'm recording this a little bit differently. I actually took screenshots of these and I'm using a different program to play it and record it. That way then I don't get that weird flashing that I used to get with my browser. It would load weird. Anyway, hopefully it'll help with the editing process as well. Back to the diorama. This thing looks so good. I love the way that all of the stonework is coming out. There's a little bit of a greenish tinge to it, but I am really digging the way that you painted these and the way that it's sculpted. There's lots of texture throughout here, which is just awesome. Really like that these little sconces on the walls, and the door just looks so good with this cast iron kind of, or wrought iron, like hinge pieces. Looks so good. The handles, all of that looks awesome. And then we go looking at the throne, and there's some really nice detail back here with this kind of goldish effect. Really looks awesome. I am very impressed with the way that this turned out. And then we turn on the little light sconces, and this looks really nice. I love that glow, the reddish, orangish glow. We've got a figure in here. I'm not really sure what figure that is. If it's Game of Thrones, I don't think it's Lord of the Rings. Pretty sure it's 1/12 scale, but really digging on the way that that turned out. It looks very nice. Here's another picture with the lights back on. Look at this window back behind it. Looks like they've got some sort of backdrop behind. That is showing through very nicely. I really dig the way that this window looks with the kind of metal grate look. Just looks awesome. So great job. Awesome door. Really digging on the way that that turned out. Next up, coming from Custom Poser, some test shots for their 360-degree Canyon Dio style, and a few others will be available on their eBay store or DM them to purchase. 1/12 scale, $325 plus shipping. So this looks really cool, and I love the backdrop that you've got. The photos look awesome on here. Really digging the way that this looks with our Boba Fett. I like the way that you cut these rocks. It has not that really realistic feel. It has a cartoon feel almost to it, and I'm really, really enjoying that look. This little overhang, it's not an overhang, it's like a arch, looks awesome. And the way that you've taken these pictures, again, great way for selling your diorama pieces, because that just makes it look so cool. You can see what you could do with it. I'm really digging the brownish color that you've got here. You can see there's some nice dry brushing with a little bit of whitish, a little darker brown, some lighter brown. That just looks really nice. So I'm just very impressed with the way that this looks. And again, the presentation is really impressive. You can see here we've got kind of like a hole in the ground. You can see down, he's looking in, that nice bokeh out of focus portion. Just looks really, really good. All right, next up, coming from Plastic Photo Shooter. This is, let's see, I'm not sure, but it's basically like a rooftop display piece. We've got the doorway and then a little bit of a stairway down. Really looking awesome. The brickwork is very cleanly done, and this little skylight looks awesome. You've got some lights on underneath, has it a little bit of a glow. We've got a couple of catwalk type balconies here where other buildings are, butting up against this, and there's more access from the roof down onto here, which is really cool. I just think that this looks so good. I love these little lights here as well. That gives that ambiance, that realism feel. And look at here, even though it's out of focus, these little extra accents on the edge, that just adds to the realism of this piece. It looks so good. Also, some of the weathering here on this paint looks awesome. I'm just really impressed with it. The AC fan, another nice touch, another good addition to this. I just overall think this looks great. There's some more of those accents up along the top edge there. The window looks awesome with that kind of frosted look in the window. Just really solid looking piece. I think you did a great job on it, so well done. And I'm not sure if we've showcased you in the past, but if we haven't, welcome to the show. All right, next up, coming from High School Creations, another quick setup to see how it follows. This looks amazing. I love this, where you've got a couple of buildings put together, little brownstones down New York or wherever, and it just looks so good. I love the brickwork here. It has a particular style with kind of a darker brown here, and then this one's got a little bit more of a lighter brown. I think this is still a work in progress, but it looks awesome. You can see where some of the tape is either holding pieces together or being taped off for some of the paint apps and what have you, but this is already looking really good. I can't wait to see what this looks like when it is all completed, because it's already looking really very impressive. Next, coming from Styro Smith Dio Arts. This is, let's see, Frazetta display finished. The eagle has landed. Finally put all these little projects together to honor the art from Frank Frazetta with this display and the King of Death. I think he comes out great. What do you think about it? Leave me a comment. Critics are all welcome. I think this is amazing. So if you're not familiar with Styro Smith Dio Arts, he is an amazing sculptor, and that's where I'm wondering, I'd love to know if this dragon is hand sculpted. It could be something that was purchased, but it could also be something that you sculpted. So I would love to know if this is something that you hand did. And you might be rolling your eyes thinking, oh, nobody could sculpt that out of either foam or clay, except for this guy can. He is such a talent, and it's just amazing. And look at this flame effect. That is so good looking. It just looks awesome. And then look at the base here. The weathering on that with the paint apps looks so good. The foliage, the grasses or mosses look amazing. But I just come back to this flame effect is so believable. It looks awesome. I'm really digging the way that that turned out. He's got a couple of videos on his profile in the post where he's got kind of a 360 degree rotation. I highly recommend you go check it out because you can see all angles of this, and it is absolutely a stunning looking piece that you really need to see just to believe it, because it's absolutely amazing. Next up, coming from Chico's Creative Hands, this also looks to be a bit of a work in progress. There's still a little bit that needs to be done, but it caught my eye and I wanted to showcase it before it just disappeared and I lost it. There's a lot going on here. We've got an underground portion, we've got an above ground portion, we've got some really nice looking stonework here. This spiral staircase that's going up to some sort of spire or whatever is already looking awesome. I love the paint apps on these stones, just looks so impressive. The doors look awesome. I love the way that that looks. Might put some hardware on there. I'm anticipating you probably will. And then down here is where a lot of the focus is going to be on a couple more of the pictures, is the underground portions. We've got some foliage here, and then as we come in, we see a little bit more in-depth view of the rock and some of these details with the lichens and what have you. There's just a lot going on here. This looks almost like a Lord of the Rings slash Mythic Legions or whatever. I'm not sure what this figure is specifically from. See here, 4 Horsemen, so it's probably that. But this little cave area is looking awesome already. I love the way that you've sculpted all the stone. It's got that kind of cartoon feel, but also has the realism feel. It's just very impressive looking work from you, and it's not even done. And there's this secret area that I'm wondering what is going to be coming of that secret area. So stay tuned. I'm sure they will be sharing this progress as they go. This next one I had to showcase. It's Pokemon. If you don't know already, my son and I have gotten really deep into Pokemon, the trading card game. And so when I saw this, I absolutely had to showcase it. I love it. It's so cool. It's so vibrant. This one's coming from Labo DK2. Pretty sure that they are possibly part of the, so Krusty Crew, I think is what that is. So here's my question. So this is Ectoplasma V. It's kind of a cool way of being able to display a cool card that you've got. So did you hand make this figure? It looks like it's probably hand painted, but did you sculpt it? Is it 3D printed? I'd love to know. I love seeing the little Pokemon cards on the ground. That just looks awesome. And it actually influenced me to make some Pokemon cards for my latest diorama that I'm working on. So thank you for inspiring me. I needed some more ideas for some props to put onto my dio, and some Pokemon cards was exactly what I needed. So I'm really loving this piece. I love the way that the stone looks. It's, you know, this is somewhat of a simple diorama piece, but it has a lot of great detail to it. The ground looks awesome. The grasses look so good. I'm just really digging the way that this turned out. We've got a couple of booster pack here. I'm just loving the way that this turned out. It's so cool looking. Lots of great detail. Look at the color variation on these stones. They really do look very realistic. And then again, the look of these little booster packs. You've got the foil kind of tearing out so you can see the cards coming out. That's just so incredible. I love it. This is just a really cool looking piece. So great job on it. Next, coming from our friend Rhino Dioramas. Check them out at rhinodioramas.com. Make sure you're following them on Instagram. They do lots of 3D prints and sell those, but then they also are selling a lot of dioramas. So if you're ever in the need for a diorama, hit them up, because I'm sure they will definitely create something very cool for you, something like this maybe. So this is a 1/6 scale alley diorama. It's almost done. They do a lot of 1/6 scale diorama pieces, but they do a lot of 3D prints that are in 1/12 scale and 1/6 scale. This is just really cool. I love the brickwork. It has a great paint app to it. There's lots of variation in the colors. There's some chains and signs and all sorts of different things throughout this. You can see here's a 3D printed manhole cover. It's just very impressive, and they are a great friend of the channel. He sent me several prints that he's done, and I always appreciate it. I found a couple that he had sent me that I'm now gonna throw into this diorama, because this dio that I'm working on absolutely needs to have lots of accessories for it to look the way I want it. And so he helped me out, maybe unknowingly. He sent it to me a while ago, and finally I have a good use for those pieces. So I thank you for being a good friend of the show and for showcasing or sharing an awesome diorama with us. Next, coming from the godfather of action figure dioramas, it is Alf Figures. This 7-Eleven, it's been shipped to its new owner in California. It's 12 inches tall, 14 inches across, 10 inches deep, insulation foam, etc., etc. This is a really clean looking piece. He did a great job on it. The brickwork is just so clean. I really do like this concrete where it's a little bit different. It's got kind of, yeah, I'm not really sure how to explain it, but it looks great. The paint apps on here, look at the nice variation. It looks like there's a little bit of wetness that's on here. That is a great skill to be able to figure out how to give your concrete, number one, that realistic look for the color tone, and then the different color variations for wetness and etc. It's not always about making cracks in your concrete. It's also about getting the colors just right. The signage looks so impressive. The billboard up on the top also is looking really impressive. I just think that you did a great job. We've got a picture of the interior of the store, probably a printout that's inside there. It looks great. The asphalt is looking nice. The paint for the what do we call it? The parking lines, the curbs, all of it, just tons of great detail. And then we've got some lights illuminating the back. It's making the 7-Eleven sign glow, which is awesome. Just everything about it is solid. I mean, he knows what he's doing when he's making dioramas. So as always, great job. It's great to see more work coming from you. All right, next up, coming from Pistol Pete's Workshop, here's a little something in 1/18 scale that I've been working on since my last post. I did a trade with a homie of mine, Jack's Toy Mods Photography, a diorama for a diorama, another way to support other people in the hobby as well as bounce ideas off of one another. This is a really great idea. If you're ever unsure of what to do, ask somebody, hey, what's a good idea for a diorama? Or even better, make a deal with another diorama creators that you are following. Say, hey, you know what? I will make you a diorama if you make me a diorama, and we'll do a swap. That helps to kind of freshen up your display. It doesn't put much for money on the table because you're each just on the hook for whatever the shipping is. Otherwise, the rest of it just on your own. You make some kind of specifications as to what size you're going to go with. You know, all of that sort of thing, make an agreement, and there you go. Obviously, you want to work with people who have similar skill sets, so that way then one person isn't getting a beginner's diorama and another person's getting, you know, someone who's been around for 20 years making dioramas, unless that's a deal that you as a veteran want to make. That's also up to you. But this piece looks awesome. I'm not going to say that it's simple. It's a smaller piece with just two walls and a ground, but it looks awesome. There's a lot going on in here. I really like this little sheet metal tin that you've got here and the razor wire. That looks awesome. That really, especially from a distance in a picture like this, just adds to the realism and feel of this piece. The paint apps, especially in this lighting, are really dark and kind of nasty looking, kind of Fallout feel. It looks like we've got a dirty bomb that never went off. It's, you know, landed into the ground right here. We've got some rubble, which looks awesome. Some ground that's, or dirt that's kind of, you know, this has been around for a while and it's not, it's collecting dirt and what have you. And now we've got a little bit more light in here. We can see this door. It looks awesome. I really like the way that this red turned out. That red door looks awesome with the triangle shape. Just having these different details gives it that little bit of extra oomph to it and makes it look so impressive. So I'm really impressed with it. I really love the idea that you guys had to be able to share and swap work between each other. So keep it up. This next one is coming from Chris Barcode, No Chance for Victory. Now he's saying that this is a Star Wars diorama number 2 of 15. The figures in here do not reflect that. I guess I can call this one done. There's still a few more things I can add later, but I like how this one turned out. If you saw the first of 1 of 15 I built a few weeks back, this is the second one that will be going into this Star Wars wall I started. Each one is about 36 by 16 by 12, mostly foamular and wood used. Stay tuned to see. Okay, so I really like the paint apps that you've got on here. There's some nice variation with the different colors. It looks like it's concrete. The lines are nice and crisp and clean, which is awesome. Quick question, I know it's not related to the diorama, but these mousers, are they from that new pack that came out? They must be, but they kind of also look like the 3D print ones that I had come up with as well. So I'm wondering if these are 3D prints or if they're actually manufactured by NECA. Anyway, that's not super important for this. Let's move into some more of the pictures from the diorama. This wide shot is really giving us a good view of what this diorama looks like. And again, the paint apps are looking really cool. I love this bluish color that you've got for the lighting. It really adds to the look and feel of this. The pipes are looking really cool with some nice paint on them. You can see the Star Wars design with the little pads that are in the archways, which is great. The door looks awesome. There's a lot going on above the door here and over here, which is awesome. It's just looking really cool. And you can see how different paint apps are gonna look so different with different lighting. Let's cycle through a few more of these pictures. I think you really did a good job on this. It's gonna look great up on your shelf, so very nicely done. Next, coming from the Shadow Gallery 718, we've got the Scrapyard. Let's see, it is an actual bodega type storefront in New York City. Latest diorama is New York-based graffiti store in Soho. I used to go to when I was a kid, formerly called the Bomb the System. It's a 9 by 13 by 7. It's a New York thing. Can you dig it? I dig this. I think it looks really cool. So I'm not real familiar with these little figures. They're kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but they look really cool and it looks great with this diorama. The dio really fits the style of these little figures. I just think it looks super cool, and you did a great job with the Scrapyard sign. You can see that you must have had to hand sculpt that. The windows look awesome. There's a lot going on with the little shadows that you've got in the windows. That is a really cool touch. So let's cycle through a few more of these pictures. You get a little bit closer up shot. This boombox looks to be hand painted, hand sculpted, looks awesome. There's just a lot of really great details throughout. The windows are illuminated. That looks awesome. This one also another angle. Everything about this just looks so cool. I love the brickwork. And here is the actual reference picture. So that really looks like the original. I mean, you did a great job. I'm really impressed with how you did on this. So nicely done. And last but not least, coming from Captain Bravo, we've got Captain Luffy diorama for sale. DM them if you're interested. This is just a really cool looking piece. It's got a little bit of resin with the water effect, and as we go through some of these pictures, we're going to see a lot of really cool detail in the rock and the sand and what have you. It just looks awesome, and you can see the scale is fairly small, which is also really cool about this piece. I'm just really digging on it. There's so much great detail. Look at the paintwork on this rock. Really looks realistic, but what's really catching my eye is how the water has waves and it's crashing onto here, and you can see how the water has basically overcome this little beach portion, but there's still some water on there. That shine is so cool. I just really am digging this. And then this little guy here looks to be like he might be custom painted. It looks awesome. It scales perfectly with this. But look at this. You've got water that has been flowing over the rock. That's a cool effect. We got the whitewash from the water breaking. there's just a lot of great detail on this very small diorama, and it just looks so impressive. And then when we come to the back, this is kind of the detail I'm talking about. You can see the sand and dirt and what have you gives you so much more detail in this piece, with the branches, the brush, whatever this happens to be, also sticking out. There's just so much going on with it. So very impressed with this. You guys all did a great job this week. Alrighty, there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, the bell notification, all that jazz. Leave a comment. What did you think of all of these different dioramas? I think they are pretty darn awesome myself, which is why I put them in the showcase. Make sure that you are using the hashtag This Week in Dioramas every time you finish a piece, and that gives you the best chance to be showcased in a future episode. And with that, I will see you hopefully next week. Have a good one, everybody.